Hello, all you bowling and boxing fans out there tonight. We are here live for a 30-minute live podcast as I actually have to introduce everyone. For the last few weeks right now has been a really tough time right now, and there's been good, there's been bad, and there's been worse. But it's not bad. When you talk about competition, guys, there's competition all over, and I can't wait to talk about it. There's going to be a few segments I'm going to talk about today. If you viewers don't mind, I'll be talking about bowling. I'll be talking about an MMA fighter and a boxing thing, which is something I'm going to regret talking about. But today, guys, this is the first time for Fox Talk. Welcome back to my next podcast. This is going to be one hell of a ride. That's all I'm going to say right now. And the first topic I would like to point out is the PBA World Series of Bowling Shark Tournament of Champion. And I had to pay $1 to bet if my bowler was going to win. Spoiler alert, did it. EJ Tackett, number 2 seed, defeats Anthony Simonson. First time he defeats him on television. He bowled a heck of a great game in that match, only to barely not bowl a good game in the final, but he did because he had to take on a rematch fighter that he hasn't fought against since the DHC Japan Cup in 2017, the final, Shota Kawazoe, a 21-time PBA Japan Champion Cup winner. And Tackett defeated him 228 to 213. I felt bad because Shota deserved better. He should have deserved it. He had what it take. It looked like he had a chance of winning. I felt bad that he didn't get a strike in the second frame, and the right lane was giving him problem. He was throwing Brooklyn strikes. At least he was hitting the pocket of every one pin. He had to be timed out by one person telling him, and it was so bad. And EJ, he was getting the corner pocket. The only bad luck he was getting was 10 pins, which was the only thing keeping Shota alive. Like, watching the 2017 DHC Cup was different from how that went on because of how the score went on for Shota and Tackett went on. Like, the scores were somewhat particularly almost the same. I think Shota scored a 215 in that first match, and this, like, a guy scoring 2 televised 300 games in one day in 2010 live in Japan at the time of how he won, settles to this 14 years later. I just found it hard to believe. Like, I'll be honest, though, at least Shota struck out in the 10th frame. He got 2 strikes. He got 9. It should have been. At least he shot at least he got every spare. He didn't miss every spare. I think a split would have cost one of these guys a chance to lose. And if he actually got a strike in the final shot in the 10th, all Tackett had to do was get 1 strike and 6 pins. But he had to get 1 strike and 5 pins because of that 9 shot. And if Tackett got a 9 spared, he would still have a chance to strike to go to a roll-off. Or maybe to a tie. I think it was a roll-off. Who knows? 1 strike, 5 pins, all Tackett had to do. And, you know, I'll give credit. Tackett had to do what he had to do. If he didn't get that strike in the 10th frame, then what else would have mattered? And even though Tackett, like, seeing him win the title, it just it was hard. And guys, I just feel bad because I'm looking back at this, I'm thinking, why can a Japanese person actually come forward in PBA to win a title or even battle hard? I just feel bad, guys. And I think the reason for that is I just don't think Japanese or Chinese people or even Philippines, Thailands, Korean people, Indonesian people don't have a chance to compete against big Western people like ourselves because we're scared of being monsters. That's what they are. Like, they're scared of us. Like, guys, when you watch the tournaments from 1989 to 2006 Japan Cup and you see American dominating every single year, winning title after title, until Mika Koibuyemi broke that record 2007 won, it just goes to show you that American people scare Asian people. Like, Asian people aren't big. And no offense to Asian people if they're watching this, but I do mean it. It's like, I feel like Asian people don't know much about the outside world of us Americans. We know them, but how much do they know about us Westerns? Are we big? Are we mean? Are we real scare people? Are we nice? And about Japanese, you can think from a minute, is there reasons why it's hard for them to compete at that level? Was it hard for Shota to score 2 televised 300 games in Japan in 2010? Is it that hard to go from that to this? At the end of the day, I just don't know. And like, guys, if you go to subway trains in Japan and you see these little tiny seats that are this tiny, and us foreign people like in America and Canadian people like myself, we have big bodies, so we can barely fit in a seat and such, and you have people backing away because in Japan and other countries, they have tiny seats because there's not a lot of big people there. So I just think when you look at that and understanding the body languages of it, just made sense why there's not a lot of Asians competing as hard and big in America, because we've learned the sport a lot longer than they did. And even though there's talent in Japan, I just don't think they can handle the mental and the physical taking on American people like us. And I think that's why EJ won that match. And I'm upset talking about this because I don't want to be mean to them, but I do want to push their luck. Like, guys, I'm not trying to be mean to them, but I am trying to push their luck. Just so if next time, if something like this happens again, I'll regret what I said, and then they'll say, and I'll apologize to them saying, well, I'm sorry, I guess you won a title, and that's good. And I just feel like there should have been more to this. And if Tackett did miss a 9-pin or got a split or something around the time, then competition would have been a lot different. And now people to this day are saying we'll never have a Japanese bowler to win a PBA title in America. We'll never have this. We'll never have that. It's just a Cinderella thing that will never come. And that does upset me to talk about. And there's nothing much I can say about that. It is what it is. But I'm going to talk about some other subject right now. So guys, this next topic is a little bit different. A guy from the country of Toga came out. He actually messaged me. He messaged on one of my videos of the boxing videos I did a few days ago, and he told me to look up his information. And his name is Emanuele Adso, if I said your name right. And when looking up his information like a day ago, it was tough. I like to say happy birthday, Emmanuel, for being 30 years old, even though this video, today is the 17th and tomorrow is the 18th is your birthday, but this video will be uploaded tomorrow, so what difference does it make? So happy birthday for being 30, by the way. That'll be the title of this video for the heck of it. But and I don't mean to offend you, Emanuela, but I do have some information to say about what you think you should do to your career, but it's your choice whether you do or not. The only thing you viewers have to know about Emmanuel is this. Now, first of all, guys, I don't know much about him, and I did saw some of his fights, and they were too long, and they were hard for me to watch because it would take hours for me to talk about this. So this guy, his nickname is Maximo. All you have to know is that he's a middleweight. I did make a comment on him saying, are you a heavyweight? But when looking up this information, I guess he was middleweight. He's 185 pounds. He's 6'4", and mostly, he is an MMA fighter. He's a jiu-jitsu fighter, and when looking up his information, in 2019, it stated that he was a Brazilian jiu-jitsu purple belt under Mike Buckles, being part of a generation of grapplers, which were the Gracie Barrera, if people know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as Royce Gracie and the Gracie family, so obviously for that. And of course, by age 19, by the age of 23, well, he was 19 years old when he started training as it. And in 23, he earned a purple belt after proving himself against stiff competition. And of course, he went on to do mixed martial arts. He has he's a Chicago Open silver medalist and a Long Beach Open champion. And his goal is to prove myself as one of the greatest MMA fighters in jiu-jitsu. So winning world titles and both having a shit ton of fun along the way. This was done back in 2019 by Article with Proven. So when looking at the information, this is what we get. His first amateur fight is a guy in 2017. He wins. And by the way, go to www.tapology.com. I got the information for this, so go to his site, and this is where the information. I'm in the information right now. And of course, this is the moment. His first fight, October 7, 2017, he gets a win, but it's an amateur fight. His second amateur fight, which should have been his amateur fight, took place a long back, January the 5th, 2019, against George Parra. But the fight was canceled. And at this moment, this is when things happen. 3 months and 3 weeks later, instead, he leaves his amateur career. He goes to CCW, an MMA division event, on CCW 12, one of those indie events, which are like indie wrestling events, but they're different, like MMA. He takes on a 2-2 fighter named Gordy Gayton. He wins by decision. And then he decides to do a... Guys, which makes this funny, he decides to pull in an Andy Ruiz Jr. moment. Because, guys, April 28th, 2019, he fights in his pro debut. And when looking up Andy Ruiz's competition, when he came out of retirement in 2018 after his loss against Joseph Parker, it said that after he won a couple fights in 2018, 8 days before Emanuele debuted, Andy won against Alexander Dimitrico on April the 20th. 6 or so weeks later, on June the 1st, he takes on Anthony Joshua, and before you know it, that same day, Emanuele takes on Taven Edward, another debut fighter. He wins by first-round knockout in 41 seconds by armbar in the Gladiator Challenge event. But, yeah, so he's building up a good career at this moment. But instead, he decides to push it further. Instead of taking a break, he decides to go all in. 8 days later, go back to CCW to run CCW event number 13, only to get his butt beat by a rookie fighter named Guillermo de Lima by first round guillotine choke. Yeah, first round. And it won't be the last time I'll say first round. And as for now, de Lima has not fought in professional fighting since, and he's only had a couple fights in his career, one amateur in February, and 3.5 months later, this fight. So that's a problem. And then by 2020, he would falter in a year. He would have no fights. What's interesting is around the same time when he took a break from his loss, he actually made a video of him doing squat challenges with hot chicks. Interesting enough. By the way, I actually looked up his most popular video, and it shows him fighting out in front of his house, I'll assume, against another guy with a shirt and such. And Emanuele isn't wearing shoes. He's not wearing socks. He has feet, and he's going barefoot against this guy. And after I saw him throw that unbelievable right punch and brought the guy down, oh, God. Guys, go to his channel. It's crazy of how he knocked that person out. Like, when I saw that video before looking up this information, I was like, this is a champion. But when seeing this is what we get. He comes back September 23rd, 2021, takes on Patrick Becker, debut, who knows, on the FCOC 65, wins by unanimous decision. He's not even winning by knockouts. And then, July 29th, 2022, he takes on a guy that's no relation to Tyson Fury, no relation to Jarrell Miller, and no relation to Mike Tyson. A guy that's 3-0, goes by the name of Tyson Miller. Goes to LFA 137 event on July 29th, and this guy pummeled him in 47 seconds in the first round by left hook punches. Tyson Miller obliterated him, and there's no footage of it, which makes sense. Guess what happened later in January 2023? Well, Tyson Miller lost against another guy and a journeyman, just to lose again a year later in January this year, and I guess his career is dead. And as for Emanuele, he was going to fight on June the 26th against Barrington Bishop in the LFA 161, but the fight was canceled. And looking at the ratings and what the statistics and the voting, because Topology does allow you to look at the prediction vote, and it said that Bishop have a 93% chance of defeating Emanuela. We come to this fight, and a guy named Luis Francis Chananellia from Brazil debut. He comes in like moments notice, and he's 42% favorite of beating Emanuela. People never thought he was going to win. Guess what? He won by first round knockout, again by knees and punches in 1 minute and 25 seconds. And if it wasn't worse, we come February this year, and a guy named Blair Sano goes decision on Emanuela, beats him. His record's now 3 wins and 4 losses. So, at the end of the day, guys, Emanuela, this is why I want... This is your choice. If you decide to do it, do it. If you don't, don't. But I think this is what we should think. You don't have a chance of doing MMA fighting, but MMA fighters have done a lot of other things in life other than professional wrestling and kickboxing. That's another thing you should think about doing. That should be interesting because you do have a tough punch. Maybe if you're not a kicker, but not much. You could do boxing. And even though you're now turning 30 years old today, I would say you still have a decade left in you. If you decide to do bare knuckle boxing, do it. I think you should stay out of MMA and try to move on to do something. I think you should move on. I just don't think this MMA isn't for you right now. But at the end of the day, not everyone is going to be good in every sport. But there's a lot of other combat sports out there that you could perform. So I think you should just try to move on and try to do something different. And even though your affiliation is with King's MMA, but I don't know if you're going to stay there for long, you might as well move on and go somewhere else. I'm not asking you to quit fighting, but go somewhere else to fight, because I don't think you should fight in MMA again. Just please don't. Thank you. Well, that was sad. But guys, my last topic I like to talk about is something I hate talking about. Guys, seeing Shota lose the PBA title against EJ Tackett was bad enough, but guys, I hate talking about this moment. Mitsuru Brandon Tajima. Who is he? He's a heavyweight boxer, and man, oh man, I supported him when he fought his third fight in November, way back 2022. And when I'm seeing him fight like 7 times in 2023, demolishing fights after fights after fights, I'm like, this is going to be a great heavyweight. And then he takes on Alexander Jur, a guy from the country of Romania, and he has 20 wins, 5 losses, and he's lost nothing. He's done for. He was a nobody, and he takes on this guy, and he's a somebody. And guys, before this fight happened, and I went to information making comments about Tajima and how he should fight more, and then someone in the comments told me that the people are trying to train him to become a bridgeweight fighter, and I thought, dude, red flags were coming in. And I made a comment. I replied to someone's comment. I'll try to find the future, and I told him, dude, the bridgeweight title is supposed to be for fighters at 200 pounds to 225 pounds in WBC. Also, WBA is also a organization in that division, so yeah. And he told him they're trying to make him lose weight. So I knew something was up. His last fight in October, 252 3/4 pounds, goes first round knockout. We're in March the 31st, 2024, he's 224 pounds. Guys, I did not see this footage in full, and I'm not planning on watching this footage. Scorecards ended 79-72. All 3 judges give it to Alexander. This Japanese Mitsuru is done for. I unsubscribed to him. I'm upset right now that they decided to move him into bridgeweight. I think Brandon Tajima was better off staying in the heavyweight at 250 pounds. He was losing a little bit of weight in his time, but dude, bridgeweight, no. He should have stayed in heavyweight. He should have stayed where he was, and the Japanese people ruined another heavyweight championship in boxing. But guys, I'm upset about this. It's so frustrating why they went with it. You know what, guys? I'm done talking about this. I've talked too much about Asian today, and I don't want to be too much of it. I've been too mean to them too much. All right. lately right now. So you know what? I'm just going to talk about some other topic right now just for the heck of it. And you know what, guys? Screw it. I'm done. You know what, guys? How about this? I'm going to talk about why I'm a YouTuber and why I started. Because, hey, we only have like about several or so minutes until this podcast is over. So how about I talk about it now? So, guys, why am I a YouTuber? Why did I decide to become a YouTuber and so? Well, guys, technically, this is what my story started out to be. Guys, back around the time when I was a little kid, my father showed me so many movies. Even my mother did, but technically my father had a lot of movies. And every time I saw movies like Home Alone, Major League Baseball, or even Star Wars for that matter, or even WWE, I was so touched into those things. Guys, I really wanted to be like Bob Uecker. You know, the batter, the Mr. Baseball guy, the announcer for the Milwaukee Braves, Harry Doyle, the guy playing Harry Doyle for Major League Baseball. I always wanted to be like him. It's like there's a lot of people that love that guy so much that I wanted to be like him one day. And I still want to do something like him, being a good guy. And then I come across other people like the Hulk Hogan and then Stone Cold Steve Austin and WWE and John Cena, Mr. McMahon, and even Mr. McMahon got me more interested due to his mic promos and the way he talks and the way he walks. And I always wanted to be like him and be this heelish person. And I always wanted to be like that. And all of a sudden, guys, I watched Storm Chasers. The Discovery Channel had a new show, Storm Chasers, in 2007, and I was hooked on watching that show. I was so hooked when I actually saw the show. I wanted to be a storm chaser. And then when I watched the Boston Red Sox win their World Series in 2007, I wanted to be just like David Ortiz. I wanted to be like Big Papi. I wanted to be like Manny Ramirez or Kevin Youkilis or Jason Varitek, Jonathan Papelbon, Jason Vey. I wanted to be like those people, like a great team that are remembered, and I always wanted to be like them. And then in 2010, I came along and Nickelodeon was already dying away from me. iCarly was destroying everything and other stuff. So then we lost cable TV in 2011 and we never had it since. Then 2012, I had YouTube. And I've had it for now 12 years and I've had it ever since. And I've enjoyed it ever since. Well, to be honest, we did use internet in McDonald's and other places in 2010 where there was internet somewhere where we did. So I was hooked on to internet in 2009, and there's other things I went through inappropriately, but still nothing much to talk about there. But you get what I mean. I was hooked onto these things so much, and I really wanted to be involved with it so much. And then in 2014 is when I met these great YouTubers, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye. I met PewDiePie in 2013, interesting. And I started watching him playing the video game, The Walking Dead, Season 2. Didn't know there was much thing. And then, well, Telltale Games got me hooked up into that. And I wanted to be just like them. And then around the time I moved on, and guys, the only thing I was so jealous about them, about Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, and their friend Cinnamon Toast, is when they went to PAX Prime East in 2015, and I watched a video, their 1-hour video of them together, and PewDiePie dressed in a red dress, and they're playing Cards Against Humanity. I know, and Cards Against Humanity, sorry for talking too much. I wanted to be there with them. I wanted to be like that. I wanted to be part of that, no matter what the cost was. And then we moved on. And 2016, they did it. They also did Markiplier Friends panel. Mark, Jack, Bob, and Wade did theirs, and that was my favorite one. I was watching the panels every year in life, and I wanted to be there. I wanted to be part of it. I was seeing other YouTubers like the Paul brothers, KSI, and then Mr. Beast came in out of nowhere. And then I saw MLP. But guys, My Little Pony wasn't much of a thing for loving ponies, guys. The reason I became a brony in 2016 from 2021 is because I wasn't doing that. I was in love with ponies. I just wanted to be part of a group of people to collab with, to dominate, to slaying the world of internet. That's my goal, and it's still my goal to this day. And then if I actually slay the internet and be popular like everyone else, if I ever become a NASCAR driver and quit YouTube, because guys, this was my strategy. I watched NASCAR in 2007 when I saw the movie Cars, Disney Pixar. And when I saw Juan Pablo Montoya won his first race in an Xfinity race in Mexico before he won a Sonoma race that same year, I wanted to be like him. I wanted to be like Jeff Gordon. I wanted to be like them. I was in love with so much of this stuff I was watching in my life. Hell, I even saw Walter Ray Williams won a PBA title back in 2009 when he was like this old person out of his prime. I actually saw him on TV when I saw him win his 46 tour title, and I was like, I want to be like him. I want to win more titles like he did. I was so hooked up to so much of this stuff that I still never forgot about those great people, nice people like Bob Uecker, or even like Juan Pablo Montoya. And I still haven't forgot about those people since. And I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be part of that. And then ever since I saw, and guys, for everything else, the reason I was into Japan mostly in my life is I was a little bit interested because ever since hearing about history about this or that, and when I first heard about the band JayMetal in 2016 due to their second album, and I was more interested in listening to that before hearing what Bandmade was. I wanted to be part of a community, not in the US, but part around the world. That got me hooked into it ever since. And when I saw Jake and Bake live, a streamer that goes to Japan a lot, I was like, dude, I want to be with him as well. I've watched so much videos of it, and that I wanted to be part of that. And guys, the reason I got into VR chat, guys, one more other thing. The reason I was into VTubers, I was never into VTubers. I was never into VR chat until 2018. When I first saw VR chat in 2017 and 2018, it was like boring crap. It was just people doing talk, and there's nothing entertaining. Until SlyFoxGaming released that video called Big Hamburger Country, nice, with this Japanese girl in 2019. I was more hooked into it more than you ever think. And when I was watching YouTubers like Radiant, Chromia, and then I got more into it. And then Rose Doodle came along on Radiant's channel, and she got me hooked up onto it more. Guys, from 2020 to 2021, I was trying to download the VR chat game on my old computer I still have here, but the computer was not. It was just the computer wasn't. The computer just wasn't talking to me. It was just. I was upset that I still haven't loaded the game since, and now VR chat's dead. And I never got into VTubers until 2021 when all VR chat YouTubers, Rose Doodle, Chromia, Radiant, and etc., SlyFoxGaming, and a bunch of other people walked away from the internet and they disappeared, and some haven't been seen since. When Shy Lily came in 2022, I was more hooked into VTubers ever since. I never even know who Akuma Numene is when they both met again doing a dating video 2 years ago. So I think and then that's when I saw her other friends and the other friends from Moth Girl, this or that, and Cinder, and blah, 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 and Fillion. So I think when you add all those ingredients together, I think the reason I was part of it is because I just love the community. I love the support. I liked how much they were gaining on. And I really wanted to be a part of that. And I just hope I do in the future. And looks like we're about out of time. My timer's about to be out of time. So, yeah, I guess at the end of the day, I'm just trying to be part of a community until I do. And if I ever become a NASCAR driver, people will say, hey, that guy was a VTuber and now he's a NASCAR championship driver. I think that's what I want to do something. I want to do something like almost like Bob Uecker once did. He won a World Series in 1964 with the Cardinals while using a tuba, playing in this World Series, trying to catch foul balls while catching with a tuba. That's legend for Bob Uecker to do that, to become a commentator for 50 years, go to SNL, TV shows, and this. I guess I just want to be part of that type of stuff like he does and other things from VTubers. And I want to collab and meet those great VTubers. And I want to collab with new people that want to make it like I am. And I just hope I do in the future, because at the end of the day, I really want to be a part of that community. And I hope I do. So that's the end of all the podcasts. Thanks for watching. Foxwolf.